This here is a begonia plant. It has really nice orange-red leaves, greenish on the front with actually really nice silver spots. The leaves are actually very moist, and this plant requires very little care, and it grows and thrives actually in its tiny pot. It's a perennial, meaning that it lives for many years. This will probably live for about 5 years or so. It also will reproduce if you just take a cutting and put it in the soil, such as this one here was just cut from the top and planted in the soil, and it has been thriving. It's actually pretty dry, the soil, yet the plant seems to really retain its moisture. It grows really high and also makes really beautiful pink flowers. They're not very fragrant though, but they are very nice, and it flowers multiple times in a year at various spots. I do like to trim it. This leaf here has a little bit of a tear in it. I'm not sure exactly why. We'll just snip it. You can actually look inside the leaf to examine it. When you cut it, it kind of is purplish inside. It's very thin. It doesn't really have much of a scent. This one here I'll also trim. This leaf also looks pretty nice. It just had a little hole in it. Don't worry, it will produce a lot more leaves. The begonia is very sturdy. There are about 1,700 different plant species. They're native to subtropical climates and tropical climates. They're mostly grown, or commonly grown, indoors as an ornamental plant. They can be grown outside in cooler climates, but they have to be usually grown in the shade. We can move on to the other plants here. Here we have a rose plant. This one has very tiny, delicate leaves with little thorns. It has basically bark on this dead kind of trunk, which I'm going to trim. That's good. You have to be very careful. This plant is more delicate than the begonia. I'm going to snip off this little top here, and I don't want to disturb this leaf. There we go. It also looks like it needs some trimming here. There we go. And this little branch can come off as well. And right over here. That's good. Well, let's just check. The soil here is also a little bit dry. I think I'll give it some water. I'll just water it a little bit. Alright, it looks like I spilled a little bit of water. I'm just gonna dab up the water here. I don't want the table to get a little water stain. Let's wipe it up, and I'll scoop these little branches here. Alright, then we have here our kumquat tree. It's a self-pollinating citrus tree. It produces little tiny fruit that resemble oranges. They're a little more sour. You can eat the rind though. Because it self-pollinates, it produces its fruit without needing any other kumquat trees around. Soil here is also pretty dry. I'll definitely give this a little bit of a water here. Alright, that should be good. And now we'll just give it a few snips here. This branch kind of got all erratic. This actually has quite a nice scent. I know for some citrus trees you can actually use the leaves in cooking. I wouldn't do it with this one though. They are very fragrant. That looks a little more balanced. It's healthier. It's a pretty robust tree. It can live for a very long time. It grows very slow. This here is a Madagascar jewel. It has also pretty dry soil here. We'll need some water. I don't actually know too much information about this plant. It is a very supple plant. It has kind of interesting, possibly pollen or something, right there in the middle. It's kind of this soft, furry substance right here. And give it a little bit of water. The soil is pretty dry. That should be good. I'm also going to give the begonia, which I forgot, some water. That should be good.